This week on Supercars Talk, it's time to talk the 2024 calendar. The big news this week is the rumour that won't go away at the moment. Jack Smith could be out and Zach Best in at that fourth Brad Jones racing seat. The strange thing here is that license is owned by Jack's father. So yeah, not too sure on that one. Although it had been rumoured that unless Jack's results did improve, that maybe Papa Smith would be looking elsewhere. The whole Zach Best thing though, I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but do we honestly see the results really changing if you slot someone differently into that car? Okay, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but Macaulay Jones is down the back with Jack Smith anyway. Do we see a different pilot in that car just all of a sudden making a big jump up the field? Or is it the whole package of the resources and that? And then I go a bit into obviously, you know, Zach Best brings some money with him, so assuming Papa Smith is still putting in the same budget, that would overall increase the budget for that car. But you've also got someone like Declan Fraser sitting on the sidelines with more money than Zach Best. So yeah, if you're going to finish right up the back, maybe take the guy with more money. That's just my opinion though. So yeah, let me know what you think and maybe who do you put in that seat. Now, the main story of the week, of course, is the 2024 calendar has finally been released. We did know a lot of details prior to this, but now we have confirmation. It will only be 12 rounds once again. The big changes, I suppose. 2 by 60-minute races on the sprint weekends. We've got the return of New Zealand with Topor. And this is the first time I think that we've actually had refueling in New Zealand. The bend is gone, but it has been confirmed that they will host an enduro race next year. Is that the end of Sandown? Like, will this be the final Sandown 500 2024 then? And then the bend having enduro in 2025? Or does that mean we'll go back to 3 enduro series? And of course, the big one, I suppose, Newcastle out and Bathurst 500 in lieu of that. But the calendar is as so. The Queensland All-In Test on February 5th. Victorian All-In Test on February 7th at Winton there. Then we kick off the Bathurst 500 at the end of February. The Melbourne Grand Prix support races at the end of March. You'll see a bit of a common theme here. Then we go to Topor late April. We go to Perth mid to late May. Then we go to Darwin in the middle of June, Townsville the start of July, Sydney Super Night towards the end of July there, Tasmania middle of August, Sandown 500 late September, Bathurst early October, Gold Coast late October, and then Adelaide 500 kind of mid-November there. So the free-to-air rounds have also been announced, which will be kicking it off with the Bathurst 500, round 1, then the Grand Prix support events, which will be on Channel 10, not Channel 7. Then we've got Darwin and Townsville back-to-back in the middle of the season, and then finishing off with Bathurst, Gold Coast and Adelaide. And then the Super 2 rounds, I assume Super 3 will be with them once again next year. That wasn't actually announced, but Super 2 will be at both of the Bathursts. Is that a good thing or not? Then they will also be travelling to Perth, long haul for those guys. Then Townsville, another long haul trip. They'll be at Sandown, obviously Bathurst, and then finishing off in Adelaide. So the negatives or the bad things, I think, from this calendar, night racing in Sydney in July and Tasmania in August. They're going to be some cold events. Of course, no Newcastle, no Queensland Raceway, no Winton, no Phillip Island. Yeah, only 12 rounds. And once again, some of the gaps between events, you just don't get any momentum in the calendar. However, we do have some good things. New Zealand being back, that I'm just really happy about that we get to go back to New Zealand. And obviously there's a big fan base there and all that. And then I did complain about gaps. The gaps at the end of the calendar aren't as bad as what they are this year. So they're still bad, but they're not as bad. It has been an improvement. Now, with this being on the internet, I'm going to do something that is very strange, and actually, rather than just complain about everything, I'm going to offer some suggestions in how I think we could improve this calendar. First off, I'd prefer to see it kicking off at SMP, have the Super Night there, but have it at the start of March, just 2 weeks before the Grand Prix. Apparently the teams do want at least a 2-week gap between races, so put it in 2 weeks before the Grand Prix and actually make it 2 night races. So next year, once again, it looks like we'll have a practice Friday, normalish kind of Saturday with the night race, and then normalish kind of Sunday. I'd prefer to see it as like we go and race on Friday night and Saturday night and have a big event, or maybe have one big race on the Saturday night or something. Just seems like a little bit of a fizzer. You have this spectacular night race on the Saturday, and then Sunday you go and have a very, what feels like quite a, just a little bit of a downer. It's just hasn't got that pizzazz that kind of the night race has. Although maybe a bit of sunshine at that time when we're having it next year, maybe a bit of sunshine might enliven the Sunday race, where Saturday night could be very cold. So yeah, I'd prefer to see kicking off at SMP, putting Symmons Plains in between the Grand Prix and Taupo. The Bend taking over the slot from the SMP. Queensland Raceway then takes over the Symmons Plains slot. Then we put in a Winton round in between Gold Coast and Adelaide. Gold Coast becomes a 2-driver event, a proper enduro. I kind of like the idea of trialling these 60-minute sprint races at the events. I haven't got into those yet. Next year at the sprint events, rather than having your shorter races, which at some rounds this year, they have been kind of 35 to 45 minutes. Some of the races have been very short, but we've had 3 races. Next year, we're going to have 2 60-minute races at those events, proper actual timed rather than a lap count on them. I do kind of like us giving them a trial. What I don't like though is then Saturday and Sunday are kind of exactly the same event. What I prefer to see is maybe instead of having 2 60-minute races, have a 45-minute on the Saturday sprint one, and then have a 90-minute bigger race on the Sunday, or even, going really all out on it. And Saturday you have like 2 20-minute, like bang, short, sharp, get them over and done with races. And then Sunday you have a big 2-hour race where you have 2 or 3 stops in the race, and it really becomes, a proper event kind of thing. And then you have drivers, teams, cars that have that strength over a really short, sharp sprint. And then Sunday you have guys who are a lot better at the endurance event. I just hark back to the days kind of, I think it was more around like 20, when Car of the Future kind of kicked off, I think we really had this kind of system where I didn't like that 30-30 thing or whatever it was on the Saturday, but have 2 separate races, but really nice short sharp ones, and then have a big longer, and then you could have this kind of event format at most of the races. Obviously don't touch Sandown, Bathurst, Adelaide, they have their own setups, but even like your Townsvilles and stuff, these kind of formats could quite work there. But I'll hold back on the 60-minute thing until we actually see it play out. I do like that we're trialing something different rather than just doing the same thing over and over again and trying to enliven it a bit. It has worked quite well with the Super 2 where they have their 40-minute race. So I'll reserve judgment on that until we actually see how it goes, and then I'll criticise the hell out of it next year when we don't like it. So that's my take on the 2024 calendar. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about it? How would you improve it? What do you think of my suggestions there? Also, I've been doing quite a few more model videos and that. Check those out if you haven't already, if you're interested in the model car collection. I've also got a couple of interviews coming up very shortly, so keep an eye out for them. I'm trying to add in a bit more value into this channel. So yeah, let me know as well if you enjoy these extra videos or if I should just stick to the kind of weekly news stuff, because there is a bit of work that goes into all the other bits and pieces, but I do enjoy doing it. So yeah, that's the main reason why I'm doing this, because it's fun. But until next time, there is some racing coming up very soon in Adelaide as well. It does feel like it's still a long way away, but trust me, it is coming. Anyway, until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.